I'm Sean O'Brien, and I'm a Michigan estate planning attorney. Lately, I've been getting a lot of questions about ladybird deeds. First, some background. What exactly is a ladybird deed? No, not that kind of ladybird. Rather, these deeds got their name because of President Lyndon Johnson, who used this type of deed to add his wife's name to his large Texas ranch. I went to law school in Texas, and ladybird deeds have been used for decades down there. But they're somewhat new here in Michigan. They've become increasingly popular, and there's some really good reasons for that. Before I explain what makes a ladybird deed a good idea or bad idea for your family, let me first explain just what type of deed this is. The legal term is enhanced life estate deed. A deed has two parties, the grantor, which is the person giving away the property, and the grantee, that's the person receiving it. A ladybird deed is just like any other deed, except the grantor reserves two rights. The first is the right to live and use the property themselves exclusively until they die. The second is the right to change their mind and revoke the deed anytime they want, right up until their very last breath. Now, why would anyone revoke a deed? It could be because their circumstances have changed, and they've now decided to sell their house, for example. Or perhaps they've had a falling out with the first person they deeded their house to through a ladybird deed. Occasionally, people die out of order. In any case, the grantor can change their mind, and that is what makes a ladybird deed special. So what's good about a ladybird deed? Well, it's a simple, affordable way to avoid probate on your house, which is a huge advantage for most people. The other advantage is that if you go into a nursing home and seek Medicaid help, your house might be protected if you've done a ladybird deed. Now there's a 5-year look-back requirement, but be careful here because Michigan courts have never ruled on the effectiveness of ladybird deeds and Medicaid. So then what's bad about ladybird deeds? I actually have 5 issues with them here in Michigan. First, say you have more than one child. You're going to have to decide whether to deed the house to one child or all of your children. And understand you're creating a forced partnership between them if you deed it to all of them. They'll all have to agree when to sell the house and how much for. Now I'm one of 8 children. We could never agree on what to have for dinner, let alone selling a house. Second, as I mentioned before, people sometimes die out of order. If a child you put on the deed dies before you, then you're back to square one. The third issue, after you've died, and let's say you have 3 children's name on your deed, and one goes through a divorce or a bankruptcy, your house is now entangled in that child's legal mess. The fourth issue is that after you've done a ladybird deed, understand you can't borrow against your house or even a small home equity loan without revoking the deed first. And the last issue I have with ladybird deeds is that they're being sometimes used in Michigan as a cheap, quick alternative for a living trust. I strongly believe that a trust offers far more protection for most families. So as you can see, ladybird deeds have some upsides, but they're not for everyone. Regardless, before you do anything, it's important to talk to someone who understands these issues and can help you craft the right plan for you and your family. I'm Attorney Sean O'Brien, and thank you. Oh, and thank you too, Ladybird.